Okay, this is the second use case for the Glazing app. So yeah, the first video was kind of a workflow where if the person's modeled the curtain wall in a certain way, the Glazing app will just work. We don't really have to worry about it too much. We don't need to do anything to the family, to the panel family. Yeah, just works. But yeah, what we see from clients is that it's not always that easy, and sometimes they have curtain wall panels where the panel is not parallel with the center line of the curtain wall. So you can see there's the center line of the curtain wall, and you can see that we've got like a sawtooth plan. So this is similar. It's not the exact family, but it's a similar family to one of our customers. And let me open up the family. Alright, so that's what we've got. So I've modeled this family and trying to allow for the different possibilities. So what our Glazing app relies on is, or what we're trying to get with the Glazing app in terms of the calculations, is we're trying to get the exposed area. And with a saw, and yeah, the exposed area is also relative to the external elevation. So I wonder if I can draw a little view here. Yeah, I can. So if we think about this in plan, the Glazing app is looking in this direction. And obviously you can, so yeah, like I say, if the panel is modeled parallel with the center line of the curtain wall, then there's no problem. The elevational areas that we get is dead right, because we're looking straight at all the panel surfaces. So there's no problem there. Now with this panel, you can see that there's a problem. We should, if we look at exposed, how can I move this? Let's just rotate it. So we've actually got that exposed area. We've got that exposed area, and if we look at it again, we've actually got, well, for the curtain wall panel on this lowest curtain wall, we've actually got some exposed floor as well. There's a section of the curtain wall panel that's exposed on the underside, so there's the exposed floor. So if you think about it, we've actually got 3 different exposed areas. So the Glazing app is not going to pick that up without some adjustment to the existing panel family that we see here. So I'm just going to open up a different model where I've kind of done this work already. I'm going to open up the panel family also that I've done some work on, and we can take a look at that. Okay, so here's the original family, and then with the adjustments that I've had to make to get the Glazing app to work. So I mean, the idea is actually is fairly simple. All you'd have to do is model a solid and extrusion that matches the exposed part of the curtain wall panel. I've done these extrusions in this panel family, in this model. Where is it? The serrated curtain wall panel. I wonder if it stays exposed. Yeah, okay, so this extrusion is actually done in the panel family itself. I think this one here on the side as well. I think that one too. Yeah, it's an extrusion. So I think just for the next time, these need to be separate families, completely separate families. So there's almost no geometry in the host curtain wall family. So basically all I've done is I've picked up a couple of dimensions to tell me what size this flat extrusion needs to be. And for the case of the panel, so that's a glazed unit. So that's a nested family. So all you need to do there is just copy it and drop it in a new position where we looking, so that the glazing app picks up the flat elevational area. So that's, yeah, in a way that's pretty much all that has to happen. You can also see I copied the extrusion of this floor. So yeah, that's also an extrusion. So I just copied the extrusion path and just dropped it on the plane on the parallel, the plane parallel with the curtain wall center line. So basically, with the glazing app will read this geometry. Well, it's going to read all the geometry that's there. But the first part of getting this curtain wall panel family to read in the glazing app is to set up these parallel solids. That's done, and so we've got our that's the glazed units. And then the next thing we need to do is, because yeah, like I say, with nested families we get geometry and we get a material reference to that geometry. So basically the glazing app is going to pick up some of this geometry, anything that's parallel to the center line of the curtain wall. So it picks up, I can't remember exactly what, I think it picks up the back of this roof slab and the back of this floor slab. So basically, yeah, we want to exclude all of that stuff. So if I look at, yeah, we can see that I've just got a basic concrete material. The roof is actually, it's not visible for the curtain wall we're looking at, but it's roofing felt. So basically, for the original family, I've kept the original material, so the user doesn't have to change anything they've done there. What they do need to do, though, for the extrusions that we want to read in the glazing app is got to create a new material. So you can see there I've done that. Let's open up all the parameters here and let's look. So yeah, you can see there's a stack of materials, stack of material parameters. These are all, sorry, what do we got? Floor. So okay, the floor is the original. Frame all the way down, all of these are the original materials. And then all I did was where we want to read analytical, or yeah, we want to pick up the exposed areas correctly, I need to make a new material. And so I've called it FPro. I just put in the FPro in front of everything. So we've got a floor, frame, glazing, solid panel, spandrel. And that covers everything we need. And that's, yeah, so it is a bit of legwork, but I don't really see a way to get around that without a lot of programming problems on our side. In a way, it's similar to the problems we have in trying to get to the platform problem of just taking pure geometry and trying to figure out what's inside, what's outside, trying to make an envelope around it. It's a similar problem that we would have here, and it is a complex one. So this is a workflow, like I say, there's a bit of legwork to do, but once it's done, this will be read in the glazing app with no problem. Okay, so let's go back. Okay, so I'm going to start up the glazing app. Okay, so I've cleared the cache on this model, so we're back to the default state of this app, as if the user's never used this app on this model before. So let's select one of these panels. Alright, and okay, we're picking up the orientation, but otherwise that's about it. So there's no information, and that's because we've got the geometry here, but we don't know what to do with the geometry yet. There's no category for the geometry, and there's no actually the performance values are put in here. Alright, so let's go. And like I say, it's picked up all the FenestraPro materials, so that's fine because they're all parallel with the center line of the curtain wall, and it's also picked up this concrete, which I think is one of the faces on the floor slab. So we can start here, I guess, and just exclude that. Otherwise, we're going to take all the FenestraPro materials and we're going to use those. So concrete, I know, is a solid unit. Aluminium, let's see which kind of aluminium. Silver is frame. Glass is glazed units. Sorry, what happened here? Glass is glazed units. And so yeah, we could use link here if we wanted to. Okay, so we've got a solar heat gain. Blue is a solid panel. I know from experience that these values don't work, so let's just do that. Okay, concrete is excluded, so solid units and 20. Okay, so we've got everything there we need. So I'm going to refresh the zones. Alright, so we've got a U factor. We've got 0% frame, and I'll come back to that. I won't come back to that. The problem here is that Revit is giving us back the panel opening size. So that means the opening size within the grid lines. It's the opening area of the grid cell. So that's so because this is a sawtooth configuration, the actual exposed area is going to be bigger than that. Now, like I say, it's trying to figure that out or get that working correctly is difficult. And I wonder if I've got it on this model. What I've done there is, in the elevation, I've just set up a region that covers the glazing panel, and then the side panel, and then the floor panel. So basically that's the exposed area. So what are we looking at? 13.5 meters. So yeah, so you can see it's much bigger than 9.6, and that's obviously also why we got in 0% frame. So let me put that in 13.5. Let's override that. Alright, so now you can see we've got a frame value, we've got our override value. We can override our soil heat gain coefficients, and let's take that as well, 0.76. Okay, so that should be everything now. Okay, and yeah, so you can see from the viewer here that we're picking up the right exposed areas. So we can go through all of that stuff. That's that's exposed floor. That's the exposed solid panel. It's got glazing, and then a solid panel on the top. Okay, so basically that's that. We're ready to go. So I would select that curtain wall, populate it. Alright, so we've got our frame, that's all the information we need. We've got one populated, let's export that. Okay, so we've got our exports, and this is now ready for use in FenestraPro as well. So when FenestraPro opens up, we'll pick up that the Glaze app has set up overrides for the U value, soil heat gain coefficients, and the VLT, as well as the areas. So we'll check that now. So I can close this. Let's open up FenestraPro. Alright, so I know that this is the facade we're looking at, facade 8, south elevation, and so you can see the other surfaces have problems. The curtain wall surfaces, the other two, because I haven't used those. I didn't use the glazing up on those. Ah, yeah, there we go. So the top and the middle floor, so those are missing, and this one here is populated. So that's the curtain wall I looked at in the glazing app. So let's open that. Alright, and you can see that we've got the cached values. Now, okay, so I fixed this. We weren't picking up the areas, so I've added that. So the release version will have the area override. At this stage, it's still picking up the grid cell area, but you can see the U values come in, and the soil heat gain coefficients and the VLT that we got from the glazing app. Those are picked up here. So yeah, that's the workflow for addressing curtain wall panels that are not parallel to the curtain wall centerline. Okay.